Hey guys, Bushcraft Jerry here. We're going to do another preparation. Today we're going to do more preparation for that mock bug out and overnight camping trip here in the Sandylands. And I just got started. I just got my backpack on and my Bushcraft belt, and I can already tell how important a mock bug out is going to be, because I've just put this backpack on and I can tell I wouldn't want to bug out with this thing the way I have it now. I can already tell I'm gonna have to readjust some of the weight. It's not too heavy, but it's kind of unbalanced. I'm gonna have to figure something like that out before I want to do something as extreme as an actual bug out. So it is important to test your gear and to make sure you can actually do and know what your gear is capable of and how your gear will feel on you when you're using it. So I can already tell this is a very important step. Beautiful snowfall today. It's not very heavy. It's pretty warm too. It's like what, -10? I'll have to look what that is in Fahrenheit. A lot of old tracks, nothing crazy fresh. Pretty sure those are deer. I actually saw quite a few deer on the way in. If you don't see deer in the Sandylands, then you're probably not even in the Sandylands. I promise you guys, that arch there looks a lot cooler in person. I'm actually still wondering why I'm not using this as a shelter. But that clearing up ahead will make a much better camp than this trail will. I can already tell I'm gonna have to readjust my backpack because it's starting to feel annoying. Not heavy, but just unbalanced. And there she is. Hopefully today I'll spend less time drinking pine-tipped snow tea. Spend more time actually working. But I got my work cut out for me, guys. This is gonna be fun. Now, what I'm wondering right now is what I should get started on. Should I get right to work building the shelter? Or should I get a fire going just in case? It's pretty warm today, guys. I shouldn't need a fire, but if something happens and I get a booter or something like that, and I have to get warm quickly, a fire I'll be glad I made a fire in advance. I think I'll skip the fire for now. Hopefully I won't regret it later. But decisions like that is why it's important to practice bushcraft and practice survival, because you have to realize, you have to practice making decisions like that. No, I'm not gonna make a fire right now. I'm gonna get right to work. I got a lot of stuff to do before I head home. So this is the shelter we started on the other day here, but we've since come up with the better design. We're gonna lift this maybe about, I would say 4 feet off the ground, and this will kind of be the bed area here. And here, between these two trees, is where I'll be putting a fire reflector. And then we'll probably have along like the doorway here. We should be pretty sheltered from the wind that way. This clearing should actually provide pretty good shelter from the wind anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But we will put smaller branches in for a windbreak and kind of keep the heat in here. So let's get started. I have several knives on me, but this is the one I have in my immediate person. It's Camatus by Les Stroud. Survivor Man. The ultimate survivor in my opinion. Now I have a little bit of experience in doing your own filming in the wilderness while trying to set up a camp and make fires and stuff like that. It's not easy. I respect the man that can be in an extreme survival situation and still do his own filming. Probably a quarter way into that, I'll probably just throw the camera away and just get on with surviving. But Lester out pulls off both, and so I'm gonna do, I think this is called a saddle tie, or I'm not sure if I just gave it that name, but that's what I'm gonna be doing. I have these two corners tied down now. I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time getting all these individual ones tied down. I will come back and do that, but for now I just want to get this off the ground. So I need two Y-shaped sticks or branches that I can use for supports. So I'm going to go looking for those. Now, if this was an actual bug out scenario, I'd be a little less worried about this than I am right now. But I don't want to cut down any live trees. I might have to do some, but the goal is to not do any, because there's not really a point. I don't have to. Like I said, in an actual bug out scenario, I'd be less worried about it. But right now, I don't want to do it. The absolute worst thing I could do right now is go straight into a direction like that, or straight in like that, or anywhere straight into the woods, because I don't know this area very well. I know some of the trails around here, but I could easily get lost. So what I'm going to do instead, I always want, so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to make sure the clearing is always to my right shoulder, and never, ever, ever let that clearing onto my sight. What I actually should do is tie some kind of ribboning to that evergreen there in the middle of the clearing, but I should be okay. But yeah, I don't want to get too brave and go and do too much exploring, because I can get turned around in here really quickly. Now I have people at home who know exactly where I am and exactly when I should be back. So, but still. And that's something you should do too if you're going into the woods. Let people know where you're going to be, exactly where you're going to be. And the best guess is as to when you'll be back. But I'm going to put the camera down for now because I'm just talking into it. I have to actually find my material. I'll talk to you guys later. Well guys, there's a trail at that end of the clearing. It takes me to a little swamp. And guess what I found? Birch bark. This is some of the best natural tinder you'll ever find. You can actually make oil out of the bark. Extract the oil from the bark, and that can fuel your lanterns and whatnot. So once the world runs out of kerosene, what's going to be the value of birch bark oil? Something I wonder. But who knows? Who knows? Interesting thought though. But I'm actually kind of getting hungry, so I'm gonna start lunch. All right, Survivor Man, let's see how well your knife batons. I tried making a fire with the fire steel on Les Stroud's knife, and I found the sparks weren't big enough or hot enough to ignite my tinder. But when I tried with my actual fire steel that I carry on me, I got on the second or third strike. But the minute I switched fire steels, I noticed that the one I always carry on me throws a much hotter spark, and much bigger sparks too. That is beef stew. That got a Dollarama. A real bug out scenario, I would be relying more on traps and snares for food. But like I said, this isn't a real bug out scenario. I'm not against hunting, trapping, I love it actually, but right now I don't see a huge need to do it. Maybe for the actual mock bug out we will be snaring rabbits, but just for today, beef stew will serve me just fine. That's not a bad fire for just fire steel and dryer lint. Actually, there was some birch in there too. Some birch bark. And I think all I'm using for firewood is pine. For Dollarama canned food, this doesn't smell half bad. Doesn't taste half bad either. It's not mom's home cooking, mind you, but I can keep it down. It's got a little bit of a spicy kick to it, just enough to scratch the back of your throat. I don't mind that. What? Didn't somebody ever tell you it was rude to watch somebody while they eat? This is my kind of life, guys. I'm not antisocial or nothing. I like my friends and I like hanging out with people as much as the next guy does, probably even more so. I'm usually the guy that overstays his welcome, to be quite honest with you. Trying to get me to fit into society is kind of like, you know those toys they give you in, I think might be even preschool. It's the cube with the shapes on top, and then you have these little stars and squares and whatever that you match with the holes on the cube. I'm kind of like that. I don't fit into a lot of places, but a few places I fit in really well. Having me in society and in the city and stuff like that, it's kind of like trying to force a round peg into a square hole. It doesn't work that way. Man, is this ever good. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to 1 second, but only about one can. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, But for Dollarama canned food, that was really good. I'm impressed. I'm gonna get me more of that. But my camera is almost dead. Story of my life. So I gotta trek back to the truck, plug this guy in. But hopefully when you guys come back, I'll have that far end off the ground. Maybe even a tarp on top, hopefully. I don't know. Hopefully. Man, Les Stroud, hate to say it, I'm not impressed with the fire steel on your knife. I'm not. For those of you who know me, you know I take no great joy in criticizing something Les Stroud does. But I had sparks directly hitting my tender and they didn't catch. The minute I pulled out my fire steel, I could tell it threw a much hotter spark. Much bigger spark too. But my tinder caught on the second strike. Probably the third, but the second or third strike. It wasn't the first one, but I was having real issues with Les Stroud's knife. The knife itself is fine. It batons beautifully. It batons really well. But maybe my angle was wrong. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I hate criticizing something Les Stroud does, but first impression, I wasn't impressed with fire steel. I had my camera in a weird position for that. I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but the minute I changed to fire steels, the fire caught much more quicker. But I'm going to shut up and take my camera back to the truck and let it charge. So hopefully when you guys come back, I'll have progress.